Welcome to Comics from the Future. This is our Friday show that we do every week where you can preview and pre-order all sorts of upcoming titles. We're going to tell you a little bit about them. We've read some DC Future State stuff again. So you get more than more than just the solicitation.
Yeah, DC has been really great in that they've been letting us comic book store owners see the issues before we have to order them.
Fully done.
They only give us a few days. They usually give it to us about 4 or 5 days early. But we've been reading them all. So when we tell you about the Future State stuff, we've read the issues.
Yeah.
So and I know it's kind of up their viewership. We've had more people watching the show since. So that's great. I'm glad everyone appreciates the time we put into this. As much as I love reading comics, sometimes I don't have that time slot put away, but I mean, this is just too important. Everyone wants to know about Future State. So I guess let's go ahead and begin.
Yeah, so the first one we're talking about is Future State Aquaman #1. And Aquaman being my favorite character, I jumped at the chance to read this. So I read this one first. Really interesting. So this picks up years later since where we last saw Aquaman and his family. You have their daughter, Andy Curry, who is now taking on the mantle of Aqualass. And then you have Jackson Hyde, who was Aqualad, is now the new Aquaman. And we don't quite know where Aquaman and Mera are. They're brought up briefly, which I thought was interesting. But this story actually takes place in two time frames. There's where you see kind of this time frame that's on the cover where Aqualass is probably like 11 or 12, something like that. And then we jump years in the future where Aquaman now, Jackson Hyde, is marooned on Neptune, which is really interesting. And he's basically being interrogated by the native Neptunians, and he's kind of recounting how this all went down. Some really cool twists and turns with like what's up with Aqualass, what's her powers, that they're not the exact same as Aquaman or Mera. They're very different. Some really cool monsters that inhabit Neptune. And just a very interesting sense of Aqua Lass. Now she's Aqua Woman. She may be kind of a darker character. There's some kind of hints that she's kind of on a one woman mission. So I really like this one. This has been one of my favorite ones so far. Not just because I love Aquaman, but I think this is one of the more solid titles for Future State.
All right, let's keep going with more Future State.
Yeah, we got the variant also. Really cool variant. I believe this is the Carrie Randolph variant.
And if this is your guys' first time watching the show or you're not super familiar with the format, you can feel free to comment and let us know if you want any of these issues, or you can send us a message. We check everything. We'll get your info. But there was something else I was going to say and I forgot. Anyway, just let us know. We're going to show you the variants too and all that. So if you prefer the variant to something else, you can just let us know. But we have Batman Superman, and this is going to be a two-parter. A lot of the Future State, as we've said, is only a couple issues. This is just a two-part series. And this was really cool. It is Batman and Superman, of course, teaming up. This was not in the solicitation, which I'm surprised, but there is a street drug going around that changes people's face. And you read it too. It really turns them into animal creatures. That's how it changes the face. So it's not just that it alters you into another person, but it changes you into like an animal creature. And there's maybe something a little more nefarious going on. There's obviously something more nefarious going on. It's a drug. But it may be altering more than just their physical appearance. So Batman and Superman have teamed up. And they have a lot of conversations as well just about the nature of wearing masks and what that means for heroes. So really good overall, really interesting premise. So that is what this one's about.
There's a amphibious character that I was a big fan of when I saw in this.
The art's really great. It's everything you want to see out of humans turning into animals.
I read it too. It was pretty bizarre tale.
And this is the Art Adams variant.
Yeah, and this will be our giveaway prize.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and next we have Future State Legion of Superheroes. So I cracked this one open. I read it. It's by Brian Michael Bendis. So as you can imagine, there was a lot of story. He's good with dialogue. He doesn't shy from it. There's a lot of dialogue. This is for people who like Legion comics, and by that I mean there are a lot of characters to keep up with, a lot of new characters, and trying to figure out exactly who they are, how they fit in, who they're related to, and what their powers are exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Some very interesting power sets going on in this, but it's a lot to keep up with. You know, some people love that about Legion, other people that's just sort of not their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is definitely a great example of that sort of writing and what Bendis is good for. One of the things he's good for. There's also this variant cover. I actually didn't look up who did this.
Yeah, and I thought this one was interesting because we see some older Legion characters, like I think you can see at the bottom left there, Bouncing Boy
Yeah,
is kind of horrifying now. There's a new Bat character,
I know. I couldn't figure
and
out who
they don't
exactly
quite
that
explain
was.
who he is. He definitely has a bat on his chest, and
This is a two-parter,
Mhm.
so maybe the second part
Yeah.
it will be resolved.
next up we have Suicide Squad, number 1, and this is another two-parter. So this was really interesting, and it is more interesting now knowing about the new Suicide Squad series that's starting in March, because we definitely see that this is going to be a lead into that. So this is, of course, takes place in the future. There's a new team. They're not Suicide Squad, but they're the Justice
The
Squad.
Justice Squad. Yep, look at the cover.
And but it still doesn't mean they're nice people. So it went through and it's very clear about who each of these people are, and some of them we haven't. I know for one of them we have not seen in a long time, but it was really cool because it's still that very Suicide Squad idea of they've got bombs and planting in them. I don't think you can have the Suicide Squad without that idea.
Yeah.
But they're kind of acting as the Justice League. And what I think is interesting is we know the solicitation for the new Suicide Squad book mentions that they are trying to break Talon out of jail, and that Connor Kent may have something to do with the new Suicide Squad. And this definitely feels like that story a few years later. So a lot of these writers and artists are taking on, for the future state, or moving on to the main title. And this one definitely feels like a nice prologue to what's going to be happening. So if you're going to read the new Suicide Squad series coming out, I think this is a really good one to read beforehand.
I read that too, and I will mention, you know, all the Suicide Squad teams are sort of under duress because of the bomb implanted somewhere. Let's just say that this isn't just a threat.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes, and oh man, Martian Manhunter in that world, real messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see the Bat character here, the Superman, possibly a new Flash. It feels like we're getting new Flashes all over the place, but they do mention this is an Australian Flash. And this is the variant, and actually does connect with issue 2's variant, where we see
Nice.
some key players that are going to be in Suicide Squad going forward.
All right, this is Superman versus Imperious Lex. So Lex, being the amazing businessman that he is, owns a planet, and in this he has he's ready to become part of the United Planets and promote peace. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Probably
sure.
not.
He looks so kind on the cover.
He really does. They made him look super glowing. But anyway, of course, he's more than likely up to no good. So it is up to Lois Lane and Superman as leaders of the U.S. for the United Planets to figure out what's really going on here. So that's the premise of this book. Really funny. I think if I was to overall describe something about the first issue, since I read it, it's filled with a lot of humor. So lots of different characters and great art in this one. So that was my thoughts on it. It's a 3-parter. And then we have the Simone de Mio cover.
Yeah.
Lois Lane is also a decent little part of that one too. I read that.
Yeah.
I've been reading Future State all day.
Yeah, this variant cover is cool because this is the we only find them when they're dead
Oh yes,
artist.
yes, yes.
You can tell a lot by the
You really
colors,
can.
the
And
the
purples and the
coloring.
greens.
You really can.
Yeah. So, switching away from Future State, it is time for Jason's King in Black corner. Every week I get to go over all the King in Black related titles. There's only 2 of them this week. So this is Deadpool number 10, which is a King in Black tie-in. So Deadpool, I don't know, for those of you who aren't reading the series, early on in the series, he ends up becoming King of the Monsters. King of Monster Island and all the monsters, and that's kind of been the hook in his series. Is it's a very double-edged sword to be the king of the monsters. Well, Null is the king of these dragon creatures. So what happens when these 2 kings start clashing? Obviously, Null wants Daredevil dead for certain reasons. And also, apparently, there's some ancient evil cult that comes after Daredevil at the same, or Deadpool.
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, Deadpool at the same time. But speaking of Daredevil, the other King in Black tie-in this week is Daredevil issue number 26. This follows issue number 25, which was a huge issue because of Elektra taking on the mantle of Daredevil and putting on a costume that I think looks even cooler than his.
Take that.
Yeah, so not a lot is known about this issue. All that I've read so far is that Daredevil is going up against a darkness unlike any other he has experienced. Take a look at the cover.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Elektra is still, holding up the mantle, still trying to fill in for Daredevil during the whole King in Black ordeal. So that is my wrap up on the King in Black corner.
I think it's interesting because with the King in Black stuff, it's really taking over the world.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, how could you not do all of these other characters dealing with it? Because inevitably, it's going to come to their doorstep too.
It's earned more this time than a lot of past Marvel events.
Yeah.
I mean, that issue 1 of King in Black, I mean, it's going to be affecting everybody unless you're off in space.
And even then, you might have got hit on the way.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Okay, and I wanted to mention this one has a variant cover. The image is not available yet. It is the Chichetta Elektra variant. I think that's important because, Elektra on the cover in the outfit, I think it's going to be another chase. And when they don't have the covers available, retailers don't order many. And so this is probably going to be pretty sought after. So if you want to make sure you get one, this is your chance. This is what Comics from the Future is all about.
Next up, we have an indie book this week from Dark Horse. This is Crimson Flower, number 1. And this is from Matt Kent, who people know from Mind Management and Black Badge.
Yeah, Black Badge.
Some really great series, some very solid storytelling. He definitely never lightly goes into. He's got big plans for these. This one is super interesting. How they pitch it is Russian folk tales, trained assassins, and government conspiracies. So the government is weaponizing folk tales to turn children into super assassins.
Wow.
So I don't know if there's anything more Matt Kent sounding than like folklore and assassins, but
he's in his element.
Yes, there's some really good interviews with him about this. This has been a story he's wanted to tell for a long time. He did a lot of research into the Russian folk tales and kind of how that's going to weave its way through the story. But I think this sounds really interesting. I'm kind of excited because it's very almost Hellboy to bring in some of these folktale elements.
I feel like, I picture Hansel and Gretel teaming up as spies, like pushing evil agents into ovens.
I hope.
So we have a couple of variants for it. We have the Ward variant, and then we have the Kelly Thompson variant. So some really nice covers for this too.
Okay, so our next segment, we're just going to go through a bunch of other number 1s and other variant covers that we think are noteworthy this week. I'll go ahead and begin because I've read this. So this is Dark Detective number 2. The number 1 is awesome. It's following what is going on with Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is not presumed dead. They think he is dead. And in issue 1, you get to kind of see flashbacks as to why they think he's dead. This issue, they show you how they really think he's dead. How he got away with it. It's pretty cool, honestly. It's pretty clever what happens to allow him to really have everyone think that he's dead. Well, he's investigating basically how did Peacemaker '01, the head of the magistrate, how did he know Bruce Wayne was Batman?
Mhm.
Because he didn't go after him as Batman. He went after him as Bruce Wayne.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
so it's a really cool mystery. My favorite part of this though is so Bruce Wayne doesn't have his money anymore. Guess what? He has to roommate with some people. he has to roommate Bruce Wayne roommating with these people, and these people are very interesting. They're very low tech. They're very conspiracy theory oriented because that they're the best people for him to be with when the magistrate has everybody. They find out he's alive. So this one is set a couple years into Future State. Most of the Future State, I think, is like 2025. This one, I think, is 2030.
Mhm.
So the new Batman's around and all that. Anyway, awesome read.
He's
I guess,
probably a good roommate because he's gone all night, and you've just got switched schedules. He's there all day. You come in, he's heading out at the same time.
yeah. This one, Next Batman, and Nightwing, all just really, really.
Yeah,
some
the
of my
Bat
favorite
stuff you can really tell they worked as a team to like what are the Bat universe in Future State going forward going to look like, and
Yeah.
this is also going to be your team. After Future State, that's going to be taking over Detective Comics 2, the same writer and artist. So I think that's really cool.
And here is the Gabriel Delato variant. Very nice.
He's got such a cool suit. I don't know. It's just so like street brawler Batman. Next we have so this I believe is for the last issue of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, and this is the Terry Dodson variant. I just thought this was cool with her playing with dolls of all her friends.
And next up, we got all the alien ones.
I will take that. Okay, so next up, we have a slew of alien covers for you. Of course, Marvel announced that they're going to have a proper alien series. So, of course, they're going to tease us in the meantime with all these variants. So, a lot of you are signed up to get all alien covers, but if there's one in particular you want, now's a good time to let us know. So, first is Captain Marvel 25.
I feel like that's the most, like, on the nose. Like, you've got the
Yeah,
cat.
for sure.
She's wearing, like, the jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Daredevil 26. Alien variant. They didn't have the Electro variant ready, but they got the alien variant
At this
ready.
one, you got to look at it, but you can see he's kind of like knocking his cane, and you see the outline of the alien in the background.
Yeah. We have Fantastic Four 28.
Just that homage of
The
the
homage,
first
yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah,
Four
yeah.
issue.
Why not throw an alien in there? The last issue of Shang-Chi
That one's
features
super cool.
an alien variant.
Yep.
One more, X-Men 17.
That's very
super cool, real slick. And that is probably nearing wrapping up our alien variants for the month of January. So maybe one more week of them, but should be most of them by now.
That was actually Wolverine number 9, and
Yes,
this
this
is
is sorry.
X-Men.
Got ahead of myself. That was Wolverine 9. This is X-Men 17.
All right, and next we have Amazing Spider-Man number 58. This is the Yoon variant. I thought this looked really cool. I just think it's a really interesting angle. I just didn't want anybody who would see us later miss out on this. So.
Yoon's interesting.
good.
I feel like at the beginning of the year, we only would say his name every so often.
Yeah.
Now it's like every week he's got many covers coming out.
Yoon is picking up for sure.
Based on the covers and the hype I've seen on some Amazing Spider-Man issues, I think this may be the next series to watch out for.
Yeah.
They're doing something here.
Well, then we have the new Marvel Action Origin series that are going to be, they're all ages, but they're not kiddie. They're just accessible for everyone. That retell the origins of a lot of the Marvel heroes. So we have Spider-Man. And what you're telling me, is it the backup story in this one?
Yeah, they're doing 2 origins per issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the backups one is Thanos' origin.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you get to read about Spider-Man's origin again and Thanos's. I mean, we've all heard Spider-Man's a million times, but I could do with
a brush
Thanos'
up on
origin
Thanos.
again. Yeah, so.
All right, so this is the third installment of the TMNT Best of series. We've had Raphael, Donatello, and now Leonardo. These are oversized issues featuring old and new stories, or current and older stories that highlight just some of the best moments of these characters. It's real thick of an issue, and they're really nice paper quality, and it's just $5.99. And we sell out of these every single time, so make sure to get it. And they're just awesome covers.
Yeah. This is Blade Runner 2029, issue number 2, the Peach Momoko cover.
Yep.
For you.
Some of her last stuff before she's all Marvel all the time.
Yep. Okay, so our next section is just sort of collections, reprints, stuff like that. We only have a few things this week. It's a bit of a small week because it's near the holidays.
So I put this in here. I thought this was really interesting. So they announced not too terribly long ago that Mad Magazine is coming to an end. And this is actually the last issue with the last Spy versus Spy story. It's called the Espionage issue, and it's really kind of an ending of an era.
Yeah, for real.
Who knows if they'll come back? I think there was talks about a Spy versus Spy movie, but I just thought this was kind of bittersweet to see that this is coming to an end. Maybe one of them will actually win. Like it just ends and one just shoots the other one. They're like, why haven't I been doing this the entire time?
Yeah, thanks, Internet era. Now our Mad Magazine is gone. First you took mom and pop video stores, and now this.
Blockbuster, Mad.
So real quick, you said this is the last one with them, but this isn't the last issue.
No, it's not the last overall issue, but I think they're trying to kind of wrap it up with this like espionage themed issue.
Okay.
Jason, I think I'll let you take this.
Oh, sure. So this is Star Wars High Republic, #1, second print. Now, we know the first print is not out yet. I highly recommend everyone pick it up. New Star Wars characters, have you all been seeing? I mean, Star Wars is just blowing up. So they're making us order this second print already. But I think that people are going to want it. In fact, this screen wasn't even available. This cover was not available anywhere until, maybe like 4 hours ago. They just released it. So this might be the first place you see it.
Yeah, and we know that one of the new series, the new Disney Plus series, Acolyte, is going to take place during this High Republic era. That probably won't be out for a year or so, but this is kind of your first introduction into this new time frame that it feels like Star Wars is really going to start to explore. So you definitely want to get on this because you never know what could spin out of this, or these characters, or these ideas.
Yeah.
All right, this is crossover number 2, the second printing. So crossover has been, once again, much like this cover, super hot, on fire even. A lot of that has to do with Solid Blood 17, Kirkman's surprise issue that just came out. So anyway, the series is obviously doing very well for the number 2 to have a second printing. If you missed it, order it now. We got plenty of number 1 still left, so, or if you just like the cover.
That issue is fun because there's a lot of comic characters alluded to, and if you get to the page I'm talking about, it's like a jail cell page, all the jail cells, and you just see arms out of the bars, and it's like, oh, that's Wonder Woman, that's Batman, but you just get to see this much of them.
You can't copyright an arm.
Yeah, really fun. So
then we have the
this is
third printing
of
#1. So we still don't have issue 2 yet of The Last Ronin, but I mean, we've had people coming in for days and days picking up the second printing of Last Ronin.
We're almost out. I think we have 1 left, and we bought a huge stack of the second print, so the third.
Yep, so we are getting a third printing of Last Ronin. If that tells you anything about how extremely popular this series is.
All right, and that is our show this week. A bit of a small week because the holidays, like I mentioned before, but still some noteworthy stuff.
Yes.
I think this will be the last show before Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, if you celebrate any other holidays, or just hang out with your family and friends during that time, or sit at home, because that's what we do now. Anyway, this is the last show before all of that, so we might have a different schedule next week. We'll see. You might see a video Wednesday, you might see it Saturday. It just depends on what's available and all that's going on here for the holidays.
Yeah,
so
we'll do it. We'll get the info out there.
We will get the info out there. So if you haven't already, make sure to like our page, get notifications if you're on YouTube. That way you don't miss a video.
Also on Instagram too, and we post a lot of updates on there.
Oh yeah, including that we just got posters. Now we sell really nice posters. They're 2x3, and we just posted that on our Instagram too. So yeah.
Yep. And for those of you who watch on YouTube, thank you very much. Our YouTube channel has really been growing. Feel free to comment and interact. We personally respond to all the comments.
Mhm.
All right, well, that's it. Have a great week. Go read some comics. Do the things that you love.
We will see you next time.